Yeah, but more so like I'm just talking about like, like they're like litigating against CBS for reporting in a way he doesn't like, and like he's floating around the idea of deporting protesters and stuff, and it's like, I talk shit on a podcast. Yeah, that's all good today. But what if tomorrow I'm at Gitmo?
That's a great point.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I'll cut out everything before the middle of that sentence, and then
roll the music,
we'll
baby.
roll the music.
Eating Soup Alone is a podcast hosted by me, Christopher Crumley, and co-hosted by Nicholas Johnson. We try our best to ramble incoherently about a handful of movies at least once a week. Do you have a preference of order? Order preference? As they say in France?
I would say, do you want to start with XXX,
Sure.
the Union, and then go to Equilibrium?
Sure.
I feel like I don't have an insane amount to say about either of these,
Sure.
but I feel like I have less to say about XXX.
Okay. Well, first of all, have you seen the original?
No. That's why I thought this would be fun.
Oh, interesting. Because Roger Ebert
Uh-huh.
gave the first one like 3.5 stars out of 4 and said it's as good as any James Bond movie in its own punk rock way.
Okay.
It was just interesting.
Well, now I want to see that one, yeah. But also, I don't always trust Roger Ebert.
No, sometimes
not
he's
at
off
all.
the mark.
Yeah,
Sometimes he's
really,
off the mark.
very much so, yeah.
But that first one had a similar budget, but instead of making like, I think it was like 60-something million to make, and then it made like $288 million. Which is why they made a sequel. But this one only did 70 against a 66 million
Yeah, I
budget.
read briefly up about it. I said something along the lines of like Vin Diesel and the director signed on to do
then
the
dropped.
second one,
Yeah.
and then dropped when they didn't like the script,
Yeah.
which makes the movie way funnier to me. How many times they let you know, oh, Xander Cage, that dumb dipshit, oh, he's dead.
He's
yeah,
dead, yeah,
he died.
yeah,
He died
yeah.
real good.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's funny you say that about Roger Ebert, because I was watching a lot of parts of this. I was just like, oh, this seems like someone trying really hard to make an American James Bond.
Yeah.
It's not bad in that respect.
I was gonna say like that was one of the things I was thinking during this, but I was like, this isn't awesome, but it is definitely better than any Roger Moore James Bond that
Do
I've
you think
seen.
so? I could
Not
see that. Yeah.
technically, or like I what I'm trying to say is that like yes, those ones are probably more like if you're trying to sit down and watch like a movie, sure. But as far as like me being like roped in, not looking at my phone, I was like, yeah, this is thrilling. This is an American spy thriller for sure.
Yeah.
Not that good, but
Well,
I'm paying attention.
It got me in the same way a Roger Moore James Bond does, where I did watch the whole thing.
I'd still rather watch Four Brothers, but
Well, I'd probably rather watch Four Brothers. I
Yeah.
did have phone in hand for parts of it.
towards the tail end, the third act was not doing much for me.
And plot overall, not super strong on it.
Yeah, what I think is happening is Willem Dafoe is trying to stage an attempted saving of the president against a terrorist attack, where the president does die,
Along
but
with like 4 other people.
I think that has on a side. He's also just on a revenge mission to kill people who stood up to him. That I don't think it. Unless his concern is to take those people out because they're the only people that could stop his plan.
What I thought it was is that he was killing the president, the vice president, whoever would be next in line to be
Yeah.
president, and then it would be him.
Right.
So if these 4 people die,
Okay.
he becomes president,
Okay.
which is fucking crazy
And awesome.
and so sick.
Wish it would. I mean, joking. Super joking. Did not mean.
Satire, parody, comedy.
Yeah. Are you calling me from a cellular phone? Do you know that scene in Pulp Fiction?
Yes, yes.
You know what's so funny about that is we were talking about Blowout from 1981, Brian De Palma's Blowout, before the podcast started because I love that film. I just watched it on the recommendation of a friend of the show, Will Lorenz. Fantastic film. Really can't recommend it enough. Off this show, we just watch movies at our whim. But this is a movie that I definitely fully endorse. But in that film, there is a scene where someone does something like that, and I'm sure Quentin was like probably, referencing that, but like I can't remember exactly what. I think that's what it is. Is like like someone realizes their phone is tapped or something like that, and they're like, they say something like wrong number. I don't know what this is, because the same kind of deal or whatever. So, but that was neat. I can't remember exactly how it happened, but I remember it happening in the film and being like, I turned to Will and I was like, I said, print color. I don't know you, whatever. And he was like, what? And I was like, from Pulp Fiction. He's like, man, I haven't seen that in forever. And I was like, well, this scene is just like Pulp Fiction. Anyways, we were talking about another film. We were talking about XXX State of the Union.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Also, it's happening in the State of the Union address. That's why this movie's called that. Isn't that fun? The assassination attempt, it happens during the State of the Union address. That's why this movie's called that.
Yeah. They take a long time to get there because in the beginning, when the secret base just gets attacked, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
And then I didn't know why. Like, why did Samuel Jackson and Ice Cube have to sneak in there? They work there. Were they suspected of having done it? Why did he have to break Ice Cube out? Couldn't he have done some kind of like governmental thing where he's like, we need this guy released?
I think it's because Willem Dafoe is the guy that made sure he was in prison, so he'd be going...
Sure, but we don't know that at this point.
Yeah.
So it's just weird. I wish they would have established why they couldn't go back to the thing and like why he had to be broken out rather than released. Because the whole time I was like, why are they going undercover? I don't get what the... Like, who are they being... Like, I was paying full attention at this point. Mm-hmm. Am I wrong? Because at this point I was like, why are they being... Because I don't even think we'd seen Willem Dafoe at this point.
I think we see Willem Dafoe pretty early.
Yeah?
He's still in jail, I think.
So you got it when you were watching all this. You were like, oh, I know why they're sneaking around.
Oh, no, don't get it twisted. No, I didn't understand a lot of this movie.
Okay.
I feel like the beginning of this movie feels a lot... This is going to sound silly, but it feels a lot like the sequel to XXX if XXX had starred Ice Cube. And all of these other people. Everyone he meets feels like, hey, that guy. Like, we should know his girlfriend from the last movie. Yeah. You know?
Maybe we do.
Maybe she is in XXX 1.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't confirm.
Let's do a James Bond thing. Can I try to bullet point list off what happens in this movie front to back? Real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Sam Jackson and College Boy find something.
Don't like him. Don't like College Boy.
And a bunch of NSA agents die. And so they're like, well, we got to get another XXX because Vin Diesel's a stupid idiot who died.
Yeah.
And then they get Ice Cube. And Ice Cube's like, fuck you, I don't want to do this because he doesn't like Sam Jackson because they have history. And then Sam Jackson picks him up in a helicopter, which so much of this movie felt like they were writing it and be like, and then Sam Jackson comes with a helicopter and he jumps onto it. And then on the day they were like, oh, how do we shoot that?
Yeah.
How do we do that in a movie? And it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so they break him out of prison. They go see Exhibit. And
so sick. How many times are we gonna watch a movie this year where Exhibit
That's what I was
up?
thinking. Pretty fucking recently we saw Exhibit in, what was it, 8 Mile?
8 Mile.
And then Exhibit tells him his girlfriend is elsewhere. And we see girlfriend.
Because she owns a chop shop. And I want to pause for one moment just to say that... such a weird thing in the mid-2000s where we were doing the Fast and the Furious and the Need for Speed and the Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition, and there was such an interest in like tricking out a car and spinners and lights underneath and
from my understanding that all
decal
comes from
Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, I think that was huge, but I could be wrong.
But continue. I'm just looking for this one. Oh yeah, right there. Okay, I was looking for a review, but continue.
And then the next thing I remember is Ice Cube is shooting a rocket launcher at a car.
Right, he's back at the barnyard.
Okay, yes.
Trying to sneak back into the underground NSA.
Is that what that place is?
That's what that place is, yeah.
Okay. And
or it's like the XXX headquarters, because like, if you look on the ground, there's like literally XXX on the ground. It's like on the elevators and stuff.
I saw it at the end, and I was just like, that's strange.
That's very strange.
I didn't see it earlier.
But hey, you saw the logo for Doge, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
Okay, well, let me show that to you really quick. Hopefully this is done. I haven't heard anyone talk about it in a long time, so I hope that this just dies.
The Department of Government Efficiency?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about, unfortunately?
This is the logo.
No, yeah.
No joke. That's not a bit. That's not a meme. I mean, it is a meme.
I've seen that, and it's incredibly AI generated.
Yeah.
We'll keep the president talk out of this for our own safety, I guess.
Yes.
But hey, straight up, Musk is a Nazi, and he did that Nazi salute.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Anyway, he's in the NSA place, and he leaves on a boat after learning something.
Yeah, he leaves on a boat, and then does Sam Jackson get killed by Willem Dafoe? Or at least we think killed.
Yeah, house blows up, and then they're at his funeral. He sees Charlie, the woman,
Yes.
He goes and meets her at a dinner, pretends to be a Baptist church.
They
with
said
the
that
NRA.
to me at a dinner. Continue.
And then the NRA guy shows up. Some sick anti-NRA talk in this movie.
Yeah.
And then they go on a date or something later to get information.
No, he pretends to be... This is my favorite part of the film.
Later. Yes.
Where she's like, this is not the idea I had in mind for the text. He's like, I'm blending in. And then the payoff is later when he does like the beginning of Drive. He like sneaks away by like just blending into a crowd.
Oh,
when they're trying to chase him into the back.
Yeah.
They're like, black guy in a suit or whatever. And the lady points to the kitchen and then there's just a sea of...
Love it.
Social commentary, because I used to work catering, and like most of my coworkers were like black folk, and we'd always be catering very, very affluent and rich parties where everyone in attendance was white.
I did that job for a day.
Yeah.
It was my job to keep the Cleveland Cavaliers from getting their own wine. And then after that, I said, I'm not doing this job anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's a waiter, and then he leaves with her.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I would like to have sex with you later if you'd like to. And he's like, I don't know. And then he wakes up in the middle of the night and sees a disturbance in the house. Goes there. There's a dead man in military garb.
And he picked up the gun. Bad move.
Bad move. Cops immediately show up with the NSA guy.
His name is Kyle Steele.
Kyle Steele. Don't know how I missed that. Kyle Steele comes in and goes, I would like to be friends. And Ice Cube's like, no. And he's like making dinner.
Yeah.
And he's like, why are you doing that? And he's like, because they got thermal stuff, and so I'm going to put a bunch of hot meat in the bathtub, and so they'll go up there and get him.
Then he hides in the fridge. Feels very X2.
This part's pretty sick, yeah. I like it quite a bit. And then he makes his escape. And then from there, has he already seen that Sam Jackson's still alive? Or does he find that out after this?
He finds that out after this.
All right, so he sees Sam Jackson and all of his friends are still alive. Oh, it turns out he got put in prison by Willem Dafoe. Yeah. Because Willem Dafoe was like, start a fire and kill all these civilians and some of your men in the process. And then Sam Jackson
and Ice Cube was like, fuck no.
Fuck no. And he punches Willem Dafoe in the face and he puts him in jail for 20 years. Yeah. And after he finds Sam Jackson, he goes to College Boy or Exhibit or NSA Man. Because all three of them at one point.
I remember him going back to the chop shop and College Boy hacking in, and there's a scene where they're working on a car, him and his girl, and then Kyle Steele walks in and he's like, you gotta drop the fucking left shock brake if you want to lift up the turbo on the...
Oh, yeah, so
like,
many scenes...
Oh, you think I don't know cars?
So many scenes of this movie of somebody working on a car and then another character coming in and going, you know what you really gotta do. We find out, I feel like, most of the people in this movie actually know a lot about cars. Yeah. And it never comes in handy. Yeah. Unless you're Exhibit.
And then Exhibit and him hatch some kind of plan, which involves them going into the back of that semi-truck with cheese.
Mm-hmm.
We forgot the
guns.
cheese.
Yeah.
They get all the guns, and he goes, God bless America.
And they already have the plans at this point that Willem Dafoe is going to kill the president and everybody else?
Yeah, he shows that to Kyle Steele, and he's like, these are military plans. He's like, yeah.
Yes, because the guy that they framed Ice Cube for murdering in Charlie's house, they're having his funeral, and while that funeral's there, all of Willem Dafoe's guys are going to come out for the funeral, quote-unquote, and then they're going to do protection on the president, which is the perfect cover if you're trying to kill the president.
Truly.
But also later, when he tells Sam Jackson, he's like, oh, I'm going to pin it all on you. Everyone's going to think that you did it. Which is, let's say that his plan works and it goes through, and Sam Jackson goes, no, it's the guy who's president now. He killed all the people who would have been president before him. That makes way more sense, doesn't it? He would never get away with this.
You'd like to think?
I like to think, but also he'd probably kill Sam Jackson. You're right, Chris. Anyway, they start shooting shit and going to the White House, right? Yeah. And they get in the White House. Yeah. And they stop him. Yeah. Then he gets a presidential pardon. Yeah. The president quotes Tupac on TV. Yeah. They go into the...
If only, right?
Yeah. They go into the X-Men XXX basement or whatever. Yeah. And then Sam Jackson goes, we need a new XXX.
He's like, I got someone in mind.
A fresh face. And then
this movie didn't make enough money for there to be a third one until 2017 when they brought Xander Cage back.
Yeah. And I would like to see... I should have looked this up at another time. Do they have anyone in mind? besides
I don't know.
Xander Cage?
I really don't know.
Would have been cool. Did I miss anything? Is there anything that you want to talk
Not
about?
that I can think of.
Speeded past? Okay.
But I will say that this really felt like Secret Agent Cody Banks, and it's really interesting how many...
It sure did.
And that's too bad, because I love Ice Cube, and I just feel like my boy deserves better.
Yeah, no, I feel like they really did Ice Cube dirty in this movie,
Yeah.
because I think Ice Cube's a fine actor.
Sure.
But
They give him some dog shit.
They give him some dog shit and choose some real bad takes in this movie.
And, I just wanted to say, that's another thing in the 2000s I feel like that we were obsessed with at that point, because you had things like Special Agent Cody Banks, you had things like Spy Kids Next Door, whatever, you had this XXX kind of shit. Bond came back. That's when Daniel Craig got his...
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, 2000s, full of souped-up cars and spy movies.
Always crazy to think about. Yeah, Casino Royale came out like a year after this movie.
2005 or 2006 or something. Yeah, because this was 2005, and then the next year would have been Casino Royale, yeah.
Hey, Chris, if you had to guess, what year did XXX Return of Xander Cage come out?
2017, I just said it a second ago.
Did you?
Yeah.
I was too busy reading that it came out in 2017 and going, that's crazy. Chris won't know that.
I want to read one thing that I saw on the Wikipedia, because, again... If you're unfamiliar with the podcast, it's just Nick and I reading the Wikipedia page back to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Boo Allen of the Denton Record Chronicle called Ice Cube's XXX character, quote, a chubby, surly, incomprehensible action hero. That's disrespectful.
Yeah,
that's
insane.
really fucking disrespectful. He's not even chubby. I mean, he's like a stocky guy. But I would not call Spy Kid Spy Kid. I would not call this Spy Kid a chubby kid.
Yeah, that's...
his arms are pretty defined. His jawline's decent. Like, yeah, he's a thicker dude, but stocky, sure, but not chubby.
Yeah, that's insane.
This man's not flabby or fat.
No, not at all.
You know,
I wouldn't call him surly either.
You know, I don't know the meaning of the word.
I was just thinking, I don't actually know what surly means. Surly.
To me, it sounds like grumpy or mean. Menacing or threatening in appearance.
Oh, okay, so this guy's a racist.
Yeah.
I feel like what it kind of boils down to. I didn't want to say that at first, but yeah, I'd say so. Bad-tempered and unfriendly. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
So anyways, overall, I mean, again, I've seen way worse. Not super upset with it, but this is, probably like this is a solid D. I'm going to give this a D.
I'm going to give it a D+.
Cool. I'm going to write these down to make my life easier later.
Hey, fun fact.
Yes.
XXX 3, The Return of Xander Cage, came out on January 5th in Mexico City, and then January 20th everywhere else.
Huh.
So for some reason, Mexico City got a 15-day head start on everybody else for seeing XXX 3.
You want to do me a favor really quick?
Yeah, sure.
You want to type into Google XXX movie?
I was going to give it a incognito tab, but... Okay.
Did you get the film?
Yeah, it's the first thing that pops up.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting, because I was trying to type that shit in, and it was not working like that for me.
The second result is pornography, and then the third result is Wikipedia for...
Oh, yeah, I get
XXX
IMDb
movie.
is the first result, but then the second one is XNXX, then Wikipedia, then X videos, then the Rotten Tomato, then Pornhub.
Yes,
then
it seems to go movie porn,
yes,
movie porn.
Yes. Yes, then Reddit, YouTube, but then xxx.com, which I've never heard of. I'll have to check that out later. Earmarked. Just kidding. That's a joke. So yeah, that's XXX State of the Union in the bag. You suggested this film.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
How do you feel now?
I don't regret watching it.
No, neither do I. But
had
how
a
did it
fun
stack
time.
up? Like, what were you, like, how did it stack up against your
I
expectations?
had zero expectations.
Pulling this
for it.
rabbit out of the hat.
I just think it's a bit that I think is really funny is
Yeah.
to watch the sequel to a movie I haven't seen, and it's never that funny.
Yeah. How many times have you done it? Would you say just a handful or?
Yeah, it was this. I believe I've seen Sister Act 2.
Okay.
Do
you think it was a good pairing with Equilibrium?
Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Because I feel kind of similar. No, I don't know if I feel similar ways about this, but they did feel cohesive together.
Equilibrium's a film I've seen before. I saw it when I was a kid, a few times, I'm sure.
Yeah.
There are things I really like about Equilibrium.
Can't wait.
But I feel like it's just overall wrapped up in, for my taste, most dystopian fiction is too on the nose and way too ham-fisted.
Oh yeah.
Like all across the board. Unilaterally dystopian is too much for me. And so that's the case here.
Yeah. Go on, sorry.
I think if I were to try to attempt... I think the other thing, though, is that it becomes B-movie fun because of how over the top it is.
At times I would agree, yes.
So, but again, like, if I were just talking generally about dystopians, the idea of the pill that makes you not feel... I would like to see a more casualized version of that. Like, if I were doing a dystopian fiction, I think it's rarely that over the top where, like, 24/7 your only entertainment is just a man on the screen explaining to you that, like, feeling is bad, feeling turns to war. It's just subtly slipped into, like, everything in real life.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, the same way that, like, misogyny is, like, slow, like, very, like, subtly ingrained. You get what I'm saying? Like, so I just feel like dystopian novels and dystopian films and dystopian video games, like, could really benefit from the subtle, ingrained, unintentional way that propaganda works. You know?
Yeah, and I don't think anyone who worked on Equilibrium was equipped to make those kind of things.
No, but, you know, I mean, even, like, George Orwell's 1984, important, sure, or, like, The Giver. I definitely like 1984, but I am not a fan of The Giver. The Giver is too, like, wolf. But anyways, and I'd love to watch or read that Fahrenheit 9411 or 451 or 459, whatever the fucking numbers are. Who gives a dick, all right? So here we go, real quick. I was going to say something. Oh, yeah, this is the guy who also made, like, Ultraviolet, which is literally basically the same movie, but with a lady who has a sword.
Ultraviolet?
Yeah. You remember Ultraviolet?
I don't. Let me see real quick. I was just
Look up Ultraviolet.
I was looking at this dude's IMDb. Yeah, it came out 2 years later.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Read the description and tell me it's not just a copy and paste with different words. Like, instead of being, like, thought police or feeling police, it's vampires and shit like that. You know?
Violet Song Jet Sharif, a woman infected with hematolophobia, a fictional vampire-like disease, lives in a future dystopia where anyone infected with the contagious disease is immediately sentenced to death. With their advanced martial arts skills, a group of rebel folks and a boy named XXx, whose blood may contain a cure for the disease, Violet goes on a mission to overthrow the futuristic government and defeat Fernandad Daxis. That's a sick name, Fernandad Daxis, but it also sounds like the name of somebody in, like, a Hunger Games or, like, some kind of a young adult novel.
But yeah, no, it's a dystopian future where she has to go kill the leader of the dystopian government to free everybody from their...
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
And
no shade.
I'm gonna say shade.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, this is the movie I thought it was.
Yeah.
This movie looks like dog shit.
Yeah.
I've seen the video of her driving her motorcycle across the building a million times.
But I will say, it's something I read on Wikipedia and I agree with. The thing that saves this is definitely, like, Christian Bale's performance, and I do like Emily Watson as an actress. She was also in Punch Drunk Love and Synecdoche, New York and shit like that. So a lot of the time, like, Christian Bale's performance here, in my opinion, is strong. I love it. Obviously, sometimes he has some, like, weak dialogue to read or whatever, but, like, he's acting. This is happening. Christian Bale's doing his thing. I'm partial to him as an actor. I like Christian Bale. I'll go on record in saying it.
That is one of my, I don't want to say complaints, but one of my issues with this movie.
Yeah.
Is you're right. Christian Bale is so good in this movie, and he is so... I so believe this man doesn't have emotions. Like, I mean, because I've seen American Psycho.
Yeah.
And, like, so he is great in this movie when it comes to that, but I don't believe anybody else when they're trying to act emotionless.
Yeah.
Because they're always trying too hard to act while they're doing it. And this movie is supposed to be the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Like, Christian Bale's supposed to be the one trying to keep his emotions in check while everybody else is emotionless. So it was kind of disconnected.
Yeah. So number one thing I like is Christian Bale. Number two, the smartest thing in this whole script is there's a couple of hints. I don't remember them all. But at the end, you find out that his son and his daughter have not been taking their medication either.
Yes.
And I love the subtle hints. There's one when they're having breakfast together and she's playing with her cereal, which to begin with she wouldn't do if she didn't have feelings. But it starts to annoy the brother, and she says something to him, or he says something to her about like how it's annoying. And then the other one is when he goes into his room in the middle of the night and he calls him Dad instead of John.
Yes, I caught that.
Yeah. So I love that part. That arc is cool. It's one of those things where like this for me would be a candidate for I'm gonna generally say I'd like Equilibrium. It's not that good, but I do like Equilibrium. I'd consider it almost like a B movie. So I excuse a lot of the bad acting and some of the cheesier shit. I also like Logan's Run from the 70s. That's also a pretty cheesy sci-fi movie. I think sci-fi is just, it's either handled well or it's handled poorly. And when it's handled poorly, it's kind of like, this is fun. But I would consider it a candidate for like, if you wanted to make a good movie, it'd be a candidate for like that John Waters thing of like, remake a bad movie.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
like,
absolutely.
There's a good
absolutely.
movie in here. The gun fu shit is really stupid. I'm sorry.
It sure is, buddy.
Yeah, it's dumb. It's dumb. It's just dumb.
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
I'd like to. This movie,
in my opinion, just have them be like a modern day samurai or something like that. Like, just have them be like Jedi. Just have them be so like spiritually in tuned,
or
that they're just fighters, incomprehensibly good, because their mind's so clear of emotion that their judgment can be perfect.
Or figure out gun kata more, because it looks
know.
so slapped together. I feel like this is something that
I say just abandon it.
It isn't shot in like an interesting way at all.
I think it'd work
like,
in an anime.
I
think it'd work.
But also,
in
I
anime.
think in like a Matrix type movie,
This is a Matrix type movie.
Yeah,
This is a cheap knockoff Matrix.
Here's my big thing with this movie.
Yeah.
This movie starts the scene where they turn the lights off and he bursts down the door and he slides on it, and then they turn the lights off and then there's like the muzzle flash.
Yeah.
I saw that scene and immediately thought, why the fuck isn't everyone always talking about Equilibrium all the time? This is so cool.
Right. And then you saw the rest of the movie and you're like, okay, I see why nobody really talks about it.
Exactly. And then the movie's going on and I was just like, I just assumed this was based off a book.
Yeah.
And then I looked it up and no, it's written by the director.
Yeah, Kyle Steele.
At some point, just must have been like, what if the Matrix was fucking dumb?
Yeah.
What if the Matrix sucked? I'll make that movie. And so I was just baffled by the rest of this movie. And then I looked up, have you ever seen a picture of Kurt Wimmer?
Yes, I have, yeah. He looks like a Kyle.
He looks like a Kyle. And so
no disrespect to any Kyles I may know.
And I saw him and I was like, that makes sense. And then I read in the IMDb trivia that he invented gun kata in his backyard. And I'm like, that makes sense too.
Oh, in his backyard is
in his
very
backyard, yes.
Cool, not gonna lie.
Yeah. The neighbors saw for sure.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, you're right. There's about 10 minutes of Equilibrium that I think kicks so much ass. It's not a consistent 10 minutes.
No.
But just here and there, and you're
right.
There's
like his thing with the dog.
Yeah.
Like when they're about to kill the dogs, he's like, I gotta take this one in case it's got diseases or something. And he like takes it in the trunk and.
But we get that scene basically 4 times in a row.
We do, yeah.
Where him and his new partner, he just goes, excuse for emotions, and then runs away.
Yeah.
And
I will say another thing I like about this film is I like the gun switch. Where like he tells the guy, he's like, in the end, I think it's gonna be better that you have this or whatever.
Maybe my favorite part of this movie, is when that scene where you find out the gun thing when his partner brings him in and goes, I caught him crying, he's the guy. Yeah. All Christian Bale has to do is go, no, you, and then the other guy's like, oh, you, huh?
Yeah.
Which it turns out to be a
Trump
because
cross. It's a double cross. I do like the double cross.
Made me laugh so hard at first that Christian Bale could just go, no, oh, you.
Oh, here's what I would have liked. In the ending, it is cool when he cuts the guy's face off.
Oh, yeah.
That's really cool. Not going to lie. But I really wish that he would have, even if we don't see it, like later on we see him with the white and like the blood and stuff.
Yes.
But I just feel like it would have been so satisfying if like him and his partner would have like had like a prolonged battle or something.
Yeah.
That would have been pretty satisfying for
his
me.
relationship with his partner really comes to nothing.
Yeah.
I do like, though, when he does fight his partner. He kills all those guys in that room first. Yeah. And then the boss looks at his partner. I think that, is it Taye Diggs?
That's not a real name.
Yeah, Taye Diggs is his partner.
What a crazy name.
He's on the poster.
Who is this guy? Who's Taye Diggs?
Taye Diggs.
I don't know Taye Diggs.
He's, from Newark, New Jersey.
I'm looking him up right now. He's in Malibu's Most Wanted.
How Stella Got Her Groove Back. And
when I said not a real man thing, I thought you were talking about the guy who plays, I think it's Angus McFadden, also not a real name. He plays the villain, I think?
Sure.
The villain.
He was on
the
Punk'd.
Father. Who was on Punk'd?
Taye Diggs.
Vice Consul DuPont. Yeah, Angus McFadden. Crazy name. This movie's full of people with crazy names.
Oh, but I love when Taye Diggs...
Father is Sean Pertwee.
Great name.
Pertwee, Pertwee.
Great name.
Continue.
He kills all the guys in that room.
Sorry, you have to stop. Maria Pia Calzone. I swear to God. Piacalzone.
Do you think her family invented it? Is that like where the name Calzone?
Maria Pia Calzone is in this film.
Cool.
So, anyways,
Shit, man.
everybody in this film has a crazy name. But anyways, continue.
He kills all the guys in that room, and then Boss Man looks at Taye Diggs. And a great bit of acting from Taye Diggs here with just his body language, where he goes, "Okay, yeah, sure, it's me, I guess. Okay, yeah, I'll take the sword and I'll fight you."
Yeah, I do like his partner a bit, but anyways, continue.
I just way too little Sean Bean in this movie.
Yeah,
I was really excited at first when his partner
Yeah.
was Sean Bean. Spoilers for a James Bond movie we'll probably never get to, but that's what happens in Goldeneye. James Bond shows up and his partner is 006
isn't
or
that
something
isn't
like
that the bit that Sean Bean always dies in like 10 seconds anytime he's in a movie?
I guess so. Yeah. That's so funny.
I think it's a meme. Yeah.
So.
Because he dies in Lord of the Rings also.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm watching Equilibrium on my computer
as one does.
As one does. This whole thing starts out because he finds out Sean Bean was having emotions, so then that makes him emotional, so he stops taking his drugs. Yeah.
No, it starts. He knocks his drugs down and they shatter, and he misses a dose, and then he feels because of that, and so then when it's time to take his next dose later in the day, he just doesn't.
Gotcha. Okay.
Remember, because he wakes up in the middle of the night and he like rips the fucking thing off of his whatever, and he's crying.
Okay, yeah, sure. I thought killing Sean Bean got to him, and then he just happened to break the thing, and then was just like, I'm gonna keep feeling. Also, his wife is played by two different women. It's insane.
That's crazy.
You can see from like shot to shot, it's a different lady, but it's so like hazy you can't even tell.
But yeah, so basically in the beginning they go to get sense offenders. Don't like that because it's way too close to sex offenders.
I think that might be the point. But yeah,
yeah,
you're right.
But anyways, so they just kill people who have feelings.
They burn the Mona Lisa.
That was pretty badass.
It was pretty sick. Yeah.
Sean Bean takes the book of poetry from Yeats, W.B. Yeats or whatever, and he's like, I'm gonna make sure that they get rid of this one because sometimes they miss shit.
Yeah.
A lot better.
Christian Bale does it later. I like that quite a bit.
He does do it, but later, not better. But anyway, so I love how he like slowly finds out that like, oh, Sean Bean's been sneaking out at night for like official business, which he pulls the same shit later.
Mm-hmm.
And then he shoots his partner or whatever. And yeah, he gets called into his office, and I like that the father character there was just kind of like, kind of weird that your wife was a sex offender and now your best friend was a sex offender. Like, just kind of a coincidence, I guess, that all this is just happening around you, huh? And then he goes home, he smashes that vial accidentally, and his son's all weird about it. He's like, I hope you don't mind, but I took the liberty of like, you got to go down and get your replacement. Yada, 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 yada. But
he has the most, even if you weren't somebody who has emotion suppressants and then all of a sudden had emotions again, even just as a regular guy, this is the most emotional day anyone's ever had. He comes to terms that his son's a little Nazi. He hears Beethoven for the first time. He watches a bunch of dogs die.
Yeah.
And then another thing happens.
When he cries listening to Beethoven, I do like that scene a lot.
Yes.
The way it's shot.
But my thing is that they're back to back. But also, it's sick. It's sick as hell.
I like the fight that happens between him and his partner when like he can like after he had to lay out. I do like that he's a badass very reluctantly.
Yes.
Like I love when like they're confronting him about like the dog in the trunk. Great scene. I love this scene. And I love how the whole time he just keeps begging this guy, do not do it, do not do it, do not do it, do not do it. because you know why? He's the best cleric, you know. And he's just clearly gonna kill 9 guys. And so yeah, I love the next morning when he's like practicing, and the guy's like, "Oh, maybe are you a little nervous because you're thinking about whether or not they know who did the 9-time homicide last night."
And he goes, "I have no feelings about it whatsoever." Like
Yeah.
he has to say that so many times in the movie, even when he doesn't have emotions. So many people are just like, "I'm sorry, how do you feel about that?" Like they're gonna catch someone.
Yeah.
And that's something that really got me about this movie. Is there are so many times when somebody who is like a cleric or part of the government or whatever is clearly angry or motivated by frustration or anger, and I'm like, those are emotions.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, at some point in this movie, we're gonna talk to Father or whatever, and he's gonna point out his whole master plan where it's like, oh, it suppresses all emotions except for fear and anger to like motivate people to live the way they live. But no.
Yeah.
No, it just, oops, we forgot that anger's an emotion.
Another thing I really do like is I like when he goes into the office and he's like kind of like freaked out. He's a little wigged out. He's like sweating and stuff, and he starts moving shit on his desk. Like just the physical way that Christian Bale moves. Like he's just such a good actor the whole time. Like I'm like locked in watching him like just kind of frantically like moving stuff or whatever. And I love when Brant comes up to me. He's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm rearranging my desk or whatever." And he's like, "Do you have some sort of feeling about the way that it was laid out?" And he's like, "Just optimizing."
Yeah.
It's a great line. Great line. Great line.
I was thinking about it around this point because he's all sweaty and stuff like that. And just looking at Christian Bale, he's a striking man.
Yes. Handsome guy. Good looking fella.
Yes, he is good looking, but I don't mean striking in that way.
Like a vampire.
He's striking like a vampire. He's just sharp.
Sharp.
And he just has, if you saw
like
him.
If I was going to cast a suave Bela Lugosi style vampire, I'd probably pick a Christian Bale.
Yes,
type.
Exactly.
He's almost got like a Christopher Walken thing about him, or something of that caliber.
If he wasn't famous, and you were working at a coffee shop, and he came in one day to get a coffee, you would never forget his face.
No.
Like, he just seems like that, and that had me thinking, like...
He seems eternal.
Can you imagine seeing him in real life?
Yeah.
Like, just seeing someone that looks like that next to you physically, it's like, I feel like he would look like a cartoon character in
and
front
his
of
body's
him.
rocking.
And his body's
He's always kept a good
rocking.
body, dude.
He's
hot.
He's hot, man.
He's a handsome man.
Even the machinist, I'm like, you got to get some weight on you, but oh, buddy.
You know what his diet was for that thing?
Like an apple a day
apple
or something?
and a can of tuna.
That's great. Why tuna?
Just for the protein and the
So
the omega acids for your brain.
Oh,
and
okay,
stuff,
that makes sense.
But
What about that movie where he plays Dick Cheney? Have you ever seen that?
He got fat for that.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I never saw it.
Me neither.
Then he follows clues. He wants to fuck Sean Bean's wife.
Right.
Bad. He follows clues till he finds Jorgen, who is another actor that I like. That guy.
Yeah, he's one of those guys.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever been anything like super amazing, but I like him. And he basically tells him like, "Hey, yo." I will say what else is cool is that like there are some locations from the production that they just have like pictures of on the Wikipedia, and it like you can see how it became.
Oh yeah, look at that.
You get what I'm saying? Like with just like a little bit of Photoshop and CGI and stuff. But anyways, they basically say like, hey, if you can get an audience with Father and kill him, we have bombs set up to destroy the production of like the drug, and if we can disrupt the drug production for even a day, that's enough. Which is a great plan. It's a good plan. Because you're right, as soon as a motherfucker has that emotion one time, they're like, I don't want to keep taking this drug.
Yeah, exactly. You know? And I'm sorry, to distract for a second.
Sure.
The guy that plays Jorgen, William Fichtner.
Cool.
I'm looking at his Wikipedia
Another crazy
page.
name, continue.
He's in... I remember him in...
He's in The Longest Yard, ain't he?
Yes, he's in The Dark Knight. Who is he in The Dark Knight? Like, I can picture him in that movie, but I can't picture who he is.
He's the guy in the frickin' bank.
Pulls out the gun.
Yeah.
Perfect, got it. He's also in Ultraviolet.
Yeah, he says something like, he's like, you think they're gonna let you go or whatever? They're not gonna do what they did to the other?
Yeah.
Yeah, what they did, whatever. And then the Joker's like, no. I think that whatever doesn't kill you makes you stranger.
And
it's been a while since I've seen the movie, but fun ride.
Even more fun He voices Ken Rosenberg in the video game Grand Theft Auto Vice City and Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Sweet.
Crazy.
Yeah. The statement that the film makes about emotion, that emotion leads to war, I think I reject.
Okay.
I think war is more of like a selfish, logical, cold thing. Like, if you didn't have emotion, you wouldn't feel bad about war. You would just be like, they have something I want. I'm going to go take it.
I would say...
You get what I'm saying? Like, it's not like generals are in rooms being like, I'm so angry at those people. I need to kill them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's usually a strategic thing where they need something that like, when we went to Afghanistan, we wanted the oil.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
It's also a greedy thing, I would say.
Sure, but is it an emotion?
I would say greed's an emotion, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a feeling.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
It's a feeling and it's an action. I'd say so. Yeah, I would say...
Google is greed an emotion.
Is greed an emotion?
What does it say?
I don't know what I thought we would find here. The Google AI overview, which I do not trust ever for anything, says yes, greed is generally considered an emotion.
Okay. So greed would be gone.
But let me see. According to Wikipedia, greed and fear refer to two opposing emotional states.
Interesting. The opposite of fear is greed?
I don't know.
Well, I got some emotional learning to do.
Yes. Okay. Here, right on Wikipedia, there's a big fancy looking diagram of emotions and greed's on here.
Okay.
So
Google. Let's see what the AI says. Google. If there were no emotion, would there be war?
No emotion, would there be war?
Thanks, Jamie. What comes up?
If there was no emotion, it is highly unlikely that there would be war.
Is that what the AI says?
Yes.
Why?
As emotions like anger, hatred, fear, and greed are often considered key motivations for conflict and aggression that drive individuals and groups to engage in warfare. Without these emotions, the rationale for initiating a war would be significantly diminished.
Would it, though? I don't know.
I'll send you this article that I just found from...
So you agree with the film? If everybody took these pills, there would be no war?
Yeah, probably.
You think so?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Maybe. I don't know.
But here's the other thing, though, because, like, what... I know I'm nitpicking the film, and I'm done talking about the film. Now I'm using this as a thought experiment. I'm not trying to, like, belittle the film because of... This is just totally separate. I mean, what is and what isn't an emotion? Is curiosity an emotion? Would you no longer be curious? You get what I'm saying? Like, when does emotion...
That's a good point.
What is an emotion? Like, what would this look like realistically? You get what I'm saying?
Let me go back to that that like, chart.
Look up his... Yeah. I'll eat my porridge and you tell me what emotions are.
Okay, well, I don't know how the wheel of emotions work. This is crazy shit right here, Chris.
What? What's crazy shit?
I just don't know how this chart is supposed to work. Because this one looks like a flower, and then this one looks like an atom, and I don't know how they relate. It looks like that, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I have one on my phone.
An emotion wheel?
Yeah.
What the fuck am I doing on it over here?
It might not have every emotion. How many emotions can there be?
This thing's also just impossible to read.
Too tiny. Yeah.
Scared, anxious, insecure, submissive, rejected, humiliated, ridiculed, disrespected, alienated, inadequate. What was the one that you were asking?
Curious. I think it's on there, actually. Next up, I'd like to try to ask the Google AI, what would life look like without emotion?
The AI would say pretty sick.
Type in. What would life look like without emotion? What's the human experience like without emotion, you know?
Like, without...
Because, like... You think they're just doing, like, in vitro fertilization and shit? Because they can't be fucking. Because horny's got to be an emotion, or is that a physical...
Horny's an emotion. It's a feeling, for sure.
You think you can get boned up if you don't got the emotional side of it, or?
That's a great point. No, I don't think you could. I think if you had no emotions, you couldn't get boned up. What would life look like without emotion? In 2002, the film Equilibrium...
Are you serious?
No, it says AI overview is not available.
Shit, that's so funny. Yeah, the questions Google doesn't want you asking. Well, anyways, I'm gonna give this movie like a C.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a C minus.
Okay, fair enough. Nick, usually I ask you what you want to watch next week, but I can tell you right now, I want to pick American Movie just because I really want you to watch American Movie.
Damn it, I was gonna pick American Movie because I wanted to watch American Movie.
Let's do American Movie and American Movie. No, I'm kidding.
And ooh,
my pick before that was gonna be Talladega Nights, but then I can't stop thinking about American Movie, so here we are.
Let me see.
When was the last time you watched Talladega Nights?
I've never seen Talladega Nights.
You've never seen Talladega Nights?
I've never seen all Talladega Nights.
Christopher Nolan's favorite comedy?
That's true. That's true. I've never seen it.
That's crazy. You ever seen Spinal Tap? I've never seen Spinal Tap.
I've seen Spinal Tap, yeah.
Good?
I remember liking Spinal Tap, yeah. I don't know if it holds up, but
Okay.
I googled movies from 2006 because I just wanted to pick a bad one.
Sure.
Inland Empire came up. I've never seen it.
I've never seen it.
It's 3 hours long.
Mamma mia.
It's not 2 hours and 45 minutes. It's not 3 hours and 15 minutes. It is 3 hours on the dot.
Yeah.
I do not want to do that.
Well, I'd like to do
Then you do it on your free time. How's the Da Vinci Code hit yet?
Oh my gosh. Never seen it.
I've never seen it either. Okay, put a pin in the Da Vinci Code.
We've never actually done The Matrix for the show, have we?
We have not.
We did it in a secret episode that never got released. But
We sure did. That's not a bad idea, Chris.
throwing that out there. Since we just did Blade and Equilibrium, we could. But just an idea. Did Superbad came out the next year. I've been meaning to rewatch Superbad so bad. I mean to rewatch it super bad because people constantly call it like one of the most rock solid comedies of all time. I constantly hear people say that it's like foundationally good.
I would like to do The Matrix, I think.
Yeah.
Would you like to do The Matrix
I'm
in
okay with
American
that.
movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun time to me.
Yeah. Agreed.
How long do you think this episode is?
49 minutes.
Chris, it's exactly 49 minutes. That's insane. It's 49 minutes and 15 seconds, so by the time you finish the word 49, it was 49 seconds. That's crazy.
Yeah, I knew it probably didn't hit an hour. That's gonna happen.
That's just
sometimes.
the nature of equilibrium,
You
right?
know, sometimes it happens like that. You want to talk about some other shit? I don't know. Like, you can talk about how Ted Kennedy killed a lady, like I said in the beginning.
Oh, you know the Nazi flag that they got in Equilibrium?
Yeah.
With the T's? I read on the trivia that sometimes when a gun fires, it makes that symbol.
Yes, I noticed that.
I couldn't stop seeing it. The dumbest thing in this movie, probably.
For sure.
Yeah,
By far,
yeah.
You know what conspiracy theory I hate?
What's that?
The Mandela effect.
And why's that?
Just because you misremembered some shit.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah.
You know? Like, it's so Facebook coded. It's so like, don't you remember when I was a kid, it was Bernstein, wasn't it? And people just be like, yeah, of course.
I didn't think of it. You did say conspiracy theory. When you said it, I was just like, yeah, people forgetting shit. Yeah, I didn't think of it as a conspiracy theory where people do believe.
People genuinely do.
Yeah,
They think that, like, I'm not even joking.
Crazy.
They think it's the convergence of, like, the multiverse, like, two
Yeah.
separate. Like, that's because we're from a timeline where it was. Like, I swear to God, people genuinely have those discussions online.
Yeah.
Thumbs down.
But hey, it turns out, really, just Shaq's filmography in the 90s wasn't that important, so we all kind of
Forgot.
heard someone say Shaq as a genie, and we went, yeah, I remember that. Yeah. So,
Type in John Lennon impersonator. Says Ringo Starr wasn't the best drummer in the Beatles. From my understanding, that's where that misconception comes from. Is that a John Lennon impersonator on a radio show said that, and then people have been misquoting actual John Lennon as saying that since it happened. Or am I tripping?
in fact, it's thought the quote comes from UK comedian Jasper Carrott in 1983 after John's death. But I got that off Facebook, so.
Don't know if I'd trust that, but that was my understanding.
I like that better. I'll Mandela effect that into my brain for the rest of the time.
Here's something else. Women's periods do not sync up.
Okay.
Another urban legend. Google that. Google do periods sync.
I'm gonna believe you.
Tell me what the chat AI says. This is chat AI corner. We're in chat AI corner right now.
Okay. Okay.
This is my favorite part of the podcast, by the way. Do not cut any of this out. It's at the end. Who gives a fuck? If you're listening this deep, you're about to just get...
AI says no.
Yeah. I learned it the other day on a podcast. How about this one? You don't gotta type anything in. We're not gonna talk to the computer for this one. The keyboard. You ever been looking at the keyboard and thinking, like, what the fuck?
No.
Just the letters, and you've never looked at it and just been like, who the fuck?
I think it's pretty well thought out. It's what you use most or closest to the
No,
middle row.
that's not true.
No?
It's the opposite. When you put it in alphabetical order, the most used characters are too close together. So back in the day when they were designing, this you can look up, but when they were designing typewriters, people could type so fast when it was alphabetical that they needed to slow it down and space out.
The keys would get caught.
Wow! Yeah, they had to intentionally space out the most used keys so as to not jam typewriters.
Chris, can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
That sounds like something that's made up that people would get wrong all the time.
What I'm saying?
Yeah. that sounds like... I believe you.
Yeah, it's called QWERTY because that's what it's QWER. Yeah, they call it QWERTY. Yeah, I read it on like a little like fun fact thing that I had like on my thing. So I Googled it and I was like, what the fuck? And yeah, basically it's like one of those things where we've never gone back because to like basically retrain your brain. Like nobody cares. Like you get what I'm saying? Like nobody's like nobody's like campaigning for us to like keyboards need to be more efficient. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, they were intentionally, placed that way to slow down,
Well, that's fun.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Could you imagine trying to rewire your brain to work it alphabetically? I figured it wouldn't take that long.
I type so slow anyway.
Are you a two-finger guy?
I might as well be, yeah.
Yeah?
I keep all my fingers on the keyboard to look like I'm not a two-finger guy, but that's basically what I'm doing, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I'd agree with you. You believe me, though? You don't think I'm capping with that one?
I believe it, yeah.
Yeah?
I believe that you believe it, yeah.
What? History. Let's see. Devised and created in the early 1870s. Lived in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Interesting. The guy who initially... So some guy named Scholes struggled for 5 years to perfect his invention, making many trial and error arrangements. Study of bigram frequency by educator Amos Densmore is believed to have influenced the array of letters, although his contributions have been called into question. Others suggest instead that the letter grouping evolved from telegraph operators' feedback. One popular but possibly apocryphal explanation is that it was designed to reduce the likelihood of internal clashing. So, debunked. It's
so sorry to do that to you.
Yeah. It says possibly apocryphal.
Schrodinger's fact.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start telling people it's true. I don't care. Like the posh thing.
Yeah.
Port side over, starboard home.
Oh, right.
That's made up. I tell people it's true all the time.
Who gives a fuck? We all die.
Who gives a fuck? Yeah.
I mean,
Frank Abagnale did all that stuff.
I'm joking. This is satire, but look what Fox News is doing all day long.
Yeah, fuck him.
Have you ever seen? It was something I saw growing up on like The Daily Show, where Sean Hannity was like, I'm making the numbers up. But he was basically just like, a new report shows that like 40% of Americans are living at the poverty line. But how poor is poor really? Because in another poll, those same people who are supposedly poor, when polled, said that 58% of them had a microwave, 40% of them have a refrigerator, 20% of them have a TV. I'm sorry, are you really poor if you have a fridge and a TV?
Yeah, I remember seeing this. Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Yeah. And that was like 2012 when he said that.
Hey, he's not the president, so I can say this. I wish he was dead.
I wish he was dead.
Yeah.
But how did that not get them pulled from the fucking airwaves? Like,
I'm absolutely cutting that up, by the way.
Yeah. But that's just some insane stuff.
I'll like block it out so it's funny, but
that's insane.
That's insane, yeah.
That's insanity. Same thing with like
It's insanity, Hannity.
There you go.
Thanks for listening.
I was president. I'd love to have like a show where I was like, all right, back to Insanity with Hannity, and then I would just have like Sean Hannity read what Fox would have done that day, and then just be like, thanks for that utter insanity. But anyways, no, then there's the one from Trump's first presidency where Tucker Carlson is like, I'm sorry, when did diversity become our strength? When has it ever made us more powerful or more strong to have nothing in common with our neighbor?
Chris, your Tucker Carlson's real good. Just
Thank you.
watching your physical mannerisms and the way your pattern of speech, you really got me. I got real mad for a minute.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
But isn't that insane? Because it's like,
Yes.
yeah, you have being a human being in common with him. Like, so what if he might be a different skin color and, be Hindu instead of Christian or something? That's not that big of a difference.
Oh yeah, Chris, they're Nazis.
Yeah,
They're Nazis. That's all it is. They're Nazis.
I know.
They're white supremacists.
I know, but it's
undebatable, I believe.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
I grew a mustache for those listening.
Yeah, you look great. I haven't mentioned
You like
yet.
it?
Yeah, I do.
I'm trying to go for like a Lars and a real girl look,
You're nailing it, bud.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Just for anyone listening, Chris has a mustache and has been wearing a Burger King crown this whole episode.
I did put that on my head, yes, I did.
You did. Yeah, it took me, I'm not going to lie, maybe 30 minutes to realize you had it on.
That's pretty funny. I like this vibe where we're not even talking about a movie,
Yeah.
Just hanging out.
Does it, like, the Burger King logo
This is
pop out at
classic.
the bottom? Yeah, let me see it.
This is classic, right? That's a
Yes.
good look.
This shading right here?
Yeah.
I thought this was, like, perforated, so this would come out.
Yeah.
And I was so busy looking at that and wondering about it that it didn't register in my brain that you were wearing a Burger King crown. I was just
Yeah.
too busy worried about, does that pop out?
This rocks, though.
Yeah, it's great.
It's awesome that Burger King does this. So shouts out Burger King. Oh, I can actually make this bigger. I thought this was the biggest it could be. Come on, bitch.
No, they make them real big. They're like, what if Dad wants to wear one,
He does.
He does.
He does. What else has been going on? Have you watched any movies that are not for the podcast?
No, I've been pretty obsessed. I told you earlier, I've been pretty obsessively playing the Yakuza games, and I just
fits
have no
better.
time for movies. It fits perfectly. You look great.
That's pretty good, actually. You wish you had one, don't you?
I do. I really
Yeah.
do.
You gonna take a picture of me?
It's going on the Instagram, yeah, when we post
Is it?
the
Oh,
episode.
okay. Don't get my porridge bowl in there and stuff.
Okay, it's great.
Okay. I wanted to look at my letterbox because I have watched a couple of other things. I've watched a couple of Wallace and Gromit films.
Oh, that's been on my list for a real long time. I just noticed they were on like HBO or something, and I got to
Yeah.
get around to them.
I watched the shorts first.
Yeah.
The Grand Day Out, wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Watched The Wrong Trousers, wonderful. I watched From Beyond. That's a 1986 film with frickin' goddamn Jeffrey Combs, Barbara Crampton, Ken Foray, and it's directed by Stuart Gordon. It's one of like two films that Jeffrey Combs, Barbara Crampton, and Stuart Gordon did. They also did Reanimator. So Reanimator and From Beyond are both like H.P. Lovecraft adaptations.
Okay.
And this is my review of From Beyond, which I recommend. It's basically if Evil Dead 2 was a sci-fi film.
That's pretty
Because it's also like 80s, low budget, lots of practical, just kind of over the top and also silly funny kind of, That's the best way I could describe it.
Yeah. I just had to look this up.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, because
No,
I just
it's
wanted to
okay.
make sure I was remembering correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, my main touchstone for Wallace and Gromit is Wallace and Gromit in Project Zoo, which is a video game.
Okay.
I'm looking at the cover right now, and it's got Gromit on the cover with a gun, which is pretty cool.
That's pretty cool, yeah. Guns are hard to draw.
It's like a Gatling gun.
Yeah. Guns are hard to draw. Like a
they're
handgun.
they're very complicated machines, yes.
And it's even crazy harder to draw someone's hand on the gun.
Don't even get me started.
Every time I try to draw that, it looks horrible.
You know what I love
What's that?
that I wish I could draw? Because every time I see someone draw it, I think it's so cool. Just somebody holding a revolver dead on.
Yeah.
So it's just all that shit looks so cool.
Yeah, but every time I do it, it looks dumb.
Yeah, it looks dumb.
Yeah. What are we at now? How much time did I fill with all that
1 hour
nonsense?
and 1 minute.
Wonderful.
You ever try to draw a car?
Car can be hard too.
Fuck that.
Because you hit the wheel well, and then you're like, nah, that's fucked up. That
And
looks
then,
bad
like-
now.
and, like,
Bicycle. Bicycle is beyond.
Don't
fun.
get me started. When you draw a car from the side, you do it, and then I always draw the window, the like driver's side window. And then
If you need more soup, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or go to our website, eatingsoupalone.com. And until next time,
This would be a really funny thing to just like fade out.
That's what
on
I was
us.
gonna do,
Yeah.
yes.
Just know that's the mattress fan.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
just fades out as you're talking about windshields and
That's
stuff.
pretty good. That's
pretty good.
So we'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. All right.